I'm getting freaking tired. I'll tell you that. So guys, we are in the Redfield Association's, the Redfield Snowmobile Association's Piston Bowlie. Do me a favor, February 12th, mark the date. Trailside Hotdog roast. I'll put all the info in the description below. And come out there for a meet and greet. Come out there for a hot dog. We're raising money for the Redfield Snowmobile Association. And thank you to all our groomer operators. Thank you, Jamie.
Come buy some food so I can drive the groomer.
That's right. Come get some food. Peace. I put the camera down like it's gonna hit me. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another It's Freaking Story Time with the Boys, episode 7. This is gonna be a banger. We are in the groomer with Jamie. We are doing multiple videos, and
This has never happened before.
yeah, I don't think I've ever seen this on YouTube, Netflix,
Anywhere.
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're out here in the groomer.
Nobody's done a podcast from a groomer.
If you want proof, there's a drag back there, and we got the trail in front of us. So we're getting a good picture out of this video. I have a GoPro in the corner, I'll show you. So I'm not sure how it's gonna look. If it seems like I'm yelling, because I want to make sure I yell over the diesel engine. We got the GoPro pointing at Jamie, and we're just gonna get started here. And you guys know I like to start these videos with a story. I don't know that Jamie remembers the first time I ever met him. It's been about,
I was probably too young to remember.
we got our camp in around 2006 in Redfield, and I remember one time I was up here, I was in the truck with Todd and I'm not sure who else, some of the same guys you've met already. You were actually playing basketball or playing with a ball in the middle of the street,
Yeah.
next to the Purple Palace. That's literally the first time I met you. And then from there on out, I mean, we're up here pretty much every weekend. And my arm is gonna get tired doing this. So we're gonna get right into it, guys. Jamie lives in Redfield.
Grew up next to Purple Palace.
And yeah, so these questions might be weird for him. I'm not sure. Like to ask the whole when you're not snowmobiling, what are your hobbies? I mean,
Grooming. Yeah, so I don't snowmobile like all the other guys do. I groom. This is my 4th night this week grooming, on top of working every day. So I do ride sled. I don't like to ride trails. I just don't. I ride backcountry. Yeah.
well, that's what I was gonna say. I could always remember you just kind of
Ditch banging.
kind of when you come over and stop by on the sled and stuff. You come
Yeah.
through the field, and kind of like what your kids do.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have a ton of land to ride, and we go other places to ride off trail too. But yeah, I'm not really. I get bored real easy riding trails, and sitting in the passenger seat of a groomer. So
I know you do more than you hunt too, right?
yeah, I hunt a lot.
And you guys run syrup lines too.
Yeah, we do maple syrup. We hunt a lot all year long. We hunt something.
We hunt something.
Yeah. I have a business that I own on top of my full-time job, so that keeps me busy in the summer. The good weather.
He's a hell of a tree smith, guys.
Yeah.
He cut down our
Tree monkey. I cut trees. I cut your huge.
yeah. How tall do you think that was?
That was big. That was real big. I actually have a picture of me standing on top of that.
We had a huge pine tree in our camp, and one year it either got struck by lightning or the beetles got it, and just the whole top of it died.
the sled's going by.
See, this is how out here we are. There's sleds going by right now.
If they can. Keep her up, bud. Can't handle the power. Don't take your hand off that handlebar, you're gonna flip it over. There you go. Alright, good to go. Didn't roll on the drag. Everything's good.
You ever seen that in a podcast before?
Never.
So I'm still going to ask the snowmobiling questions to Jamie, but I'm going to let you tailor the answers to.
Yeah.
How many years have you been snowmobiling for?
I am 34 years old and I've been snowmobiling for 34 years.
So your dad's always had one, or your family?
Grandfather, mom, dad. You basically can't live in Redfield without wanting to snowmobile.
You ever go to school on it?
School as in
like high school, riding the class on your snowmobile?
No, I would have had to leave like 2 hours before. I went to BOCES for firefighting, so we left the house at like 10 to 6. So, because I had to be at school early.
Oh, yeah.
You had to be at BOCES by 8 o'clock. But we had gym class. We had gym class before we went to BOCES, which was different.
You know, sometimes I see that neighbor kid, he gets home at like freaking 6 o'clock at night off the school bus. I'm like,
yeah. So then you get to school, you leave for school like 10 to 6, and then you don't get home if you play sports. In a away game for us, you might not get home till 11 o'clock.
Whew.
You know?
I'd rather put my leg in a wood chipper.
Yeah, gotta play those sports.
I played sports, but I mean, my school wasn't far from us either.
Yeah, I wish that was the case. But when you live in the sticks, it's not.
What was your first snowmobile?
My first snowmobile was a kitty cat. I rode that until I outgrew it, and then I was a 500 Cougar Arctic Cat, and I blew that up going down the road.
Do you have like a timeline of the snowmobiles you've owned? I feel like you've owned quite a few.
Yeah. So I had the 500 Cougar. Then I didn't have a sled for a while. I just rode Grandpa's, or I rode the guys at the Purple Palace, Todd and Jay and Bill. You know, when I was whatever, 10, 12, 14, when they weren't riding their snowmobiles, I was, and I would ride them the whole time they weren't. And then I got a Skidoo race sled.
Was that the black one?
No, and then I went from that to my Black Rocket, which was a 800. And then I sold that one, and currently we have a 79 Enticer. We have a 79 Enticer. We have a 340 Polaris. We have my grandfather's 2-up Pantera that's got 12,000 miles on it. We have a Renegade, 18 Renegade, and what else do we have?
I seen that little kit.
We got a 120. We got a 120 Polaris. Yeah.
Basically, Jamie and Laura are suiting up a small baseball team at their house.
Yeah, we have 4 boys that go from 14 to 2. There's a wider range of snowmobiles. And they all want to be in the groomer right now.
Yeah, I had shouted you guys. I should shout you out on here too.
He's got a fist fight. He had to fist fight to get in the seat.
I told Jaden last week, and he's like, I don't care, you can go. But I asked you before, but I don't want to keep asking because I'm not like that.
Yeah.
I know your family enjoys that stuff, so I don't ever want to take that away from anybody. So like for Laura tonight, I totally appreciate her sitting out and letting me do this.
So we got to get it done because after tonight, it's going to be
all her.
It's going to be all her for
3 nights this week without her. Now you're.
black sled, I had to get rid of that because it was the loudest snowmobile you've ever heard in your life.
Would you consider buying these snowmobiles upgrades? So the next question is, do you upgrade and why do you do it? But I mean,
so unlike Bill and Todd and all them, they like to upgrade for comfort. We downgrade. We take the windshields off, take anything off that can rip off, because we ditch bang, ride in the woods, fields, powder ride. Oh, I got a picture of Jaden I can send you from the last snowstorm there.
I was trying to get drone shots of him last week.
Yeah, because he was out riding.
My freaking one hand, I thought I might have to go to the doctor. My freaking whole finger froze solid. I was like, I'm sitting in front of the car shaking in front of the thing. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I think my hand might not come on frozen.
Yeah, so we downgrade. We take the stuff off the sled that can break, and obviously with 4 boys, they break everything. So yeah, we don't ride 120 miles a day. So if we do, it's not on trails. But I love loud sleds, extremely loud sleds, and I've always had extremely loud sleds. But it's an oxymoron for my job, so I can't have loud sleds anymore.
I've never told them what do you do, so
yeah, they get it figured out. So I'm a sheriff's deputy full time. I just started my 14th year in the sheriff's office, so I can't
have the loud pipe.
Can't have the loud pipe with a crank facing.
That kind of blows away everything. You know, I mean, we covered that. What's your favorite mod? And the loud one is. It's a beaten record with all of us because we all like it. But
yeah, you just can't have it anymore.
Can I ask you a question? And I'll cut this out if you want me to.
No, I know what you're gonna say. Just send it.
Why motorcycles can do it and we can't?
So
is that what you thought I was gonna say?
So yeah. So the big question is, how come motorcycles get away with it and we don't? And the biggest answer is the motorcycles are on public highways, snowmobiles are on private property.
Oh, okay.
However, everybody says loud pipes close trails. In my entire life of living in Redfield, being involved in the snowmobile club, and now proactively policing, that is not the case. Trespassing closes trails, not loud pipes. Every time we have a trail closed, it's trespassing. And this bridge is clean enough. I mean, take the Tug Hill Beach for example. I don't know, the last half dozen times somebody's put something on there about a trail closing, it's because somebody's trespassed. I ducked on that one. Did you see that?
I ducked too. I keep ducking. I'm looking at them like these people are gonna think that we're outside.
I ducked. So we have it. Yeah. The reason we're ducking is we've had ice up here, like 2 inches of ice, and it's knocked all the trees down on the trails. Actually, the other day when we were up here, we cut a tree out on our way down through, and when we came back, there was more that had fell. We had to cut them out of the trails.
I went out the day after that happened on Thursday, and then the TC trails. I was gonna try on my new helmet. I wanted to try to GoPro on the top, and I did it. And the good thing I didn't, because my helmet was smacking branches.
Yeah.
This kind of loaded. This is kind of a loaded question for you. Where's the primary area that you snowmobile?
Out of my driveway in Redfield. Which you said your favorite place to snowmobile? Was that a
no? That was your primary area, and then the next one was going to be your favorite
place, right?
Your favorite loop. So
my favorite loop.
ditch to bang?
My favorite off-road ride?
Like your favorite off-road, if you had like one spot where you're like, I gotta get over there because I just know there's 3 foot of powder. And
it's a secret spot that not many people know about. The reservoir is good. You get down on the reservoir, there's some spots out there. But my favorite spot to ride is not in Redfield, actually. It's north of there. It's a secret spot.
Yeah, we're not going to disclose any secrets.
We're not disclosing any secrets.
Would it be considered a renegade area?
It is a renegade area.
Is it?
Yeah. It's a long track area.
I like it.
Yep. It's deep snow. It's hilly, wide open. You got drops you can drop in. Yep. Tree stumps you can hit if you're not careful.
We used to have a golf course back home that we could do that stuff with our old Olympics and whatnot.
Yeah.
But then they got privy to what we were doing out there, and they'd follow the tracks back to the house and all that good stuff.
About like the guy that ran on me a couple winters ago, and I followed his track back to his house.
Is that what you do?
It's pretty easy when you're on a sled. You're the only guy out on a Tuesday night.
It's like the old story. That makes me laugh. You follow the track.
Yeah.
I remember watching Cops one night, and the guy was running through a cornfield, and he had those new when the light up shoes came out.
Yeah.
So the helicopter was just following the guy through the field, and they caught up to him. His feet lit up every step.
Like a 10-year-old with his police car, race car, fire truck shoes.
We had last night on my street at the Grease Ridge Mall, a couple girls stabbed a girl right in Macy's.
Oh, that's great.
And then they ran home. They're running from the cops. In my street, I won't tell you what road it is, but instead of making the corner, there's a little like field there. They slammed. I was sleeping. It woke me up, and then my cousin sent me the thing on the phone of what happened.
Yeah.
They hit the corner, the snowbank, and they must have tried to keep driving. And when I looked out the window, there was probably like 20 cops out there just sitting there. I said I gotta walk outside and see what's going on. I walked down to the driveway to get the garbage barrel. They were all just shooting the breeze. They must the original thing said that they were holding them at gunpoint.
Yeah.
Which
They might have, but
they may have only did that because they didn't want to walk 15 feet into the field and a foot in it, snow to get them.
Yeah. Well, if they stab somebody, there's obviously weapons involved.
It was like the back and the calf or something. They stabbed her.
Yeah.
That stuff never makes its way down my way. That was the first time. And what do you enjoy about snowmobiling?
It's a way of life. Pretty much have no choice.
Now, there's an answer I haven't heard yet. I like it.
I grew up on sleds. I literally was born on a snowmobile. Since the day I was born, I rode them. Living where we live, you wake up in the morning and you just walk out and ride. The trail goes right in front of our house. Hundreds of acres to ride. So,
You think you take it for granted? I'm asking you this for a reason.
I think my kids take it for granted.
Think so?
Yeah. But they know, like, they don't want to move out because they want the snow. I don't want the snow. I love grooming. I love snowmobiling, but Tennessee sounds great right now.
I pretty much grew up going to Henderson Harbor.
Yeah.
And my father's boat's been totally unrelated, guys, but my father's boat's been in a boathouse my whole life.
Right.
And I think I took it for granted in the matter of if I'm talking to somebody, I'm like, oh yeah, well, we just run down to the boathouse, jump in the dock. And I've had people in my field of work, they're like, what's a boathouse? Like, what do you mean what's a boathouse?
Right.
And I pull out the picture, so I do think I've taken that for granted. I asked you that because you've lived here your whole life.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had snowmobiles my whole life, but I've never had this to come to until I was older.
Right. Yeah, I mean, So this is nothing. When I was younger, we would, so I don't know, my grandparents owned the Redfield Hotel. That's where I grew up. I lived there, I grew up there in the bar. I took that for granted. But when we were walking down the side of the road, you would grab this, you'd walk on the top of the snowbank and grab the phone line. You'd hold the phone line walking down through.
Jesus.
That'll never happen again.
Yeah.
You know? So to walk out your door into 4 foot of powder, you know, when it's a good snowstorm, well, you know, if you're up at camp and it snows, you know, like people don't understand it.
Well, that's that whole.
And if you they also don't understand that it snows in the you know, middle of October. It's not going to stick, but and then it'll snow again in the middle of April.
Well, that's the whole people. You're taking off to go snowmobiling, but we don't have snow outside.
Right.
It's like, well, where I go, and I start showing them pictures, and they're like, "What are you talking about? You're nuts!" Like, no. As soon as you turn on Route 17,
if you drive 20 minutes to Pulaski,
dual snowbanks.
If you drive 20 minutes to Pulaski, there's no snow.
Yeah. I always like to take a trip over to Sharps in Belleville, and I'll go check on our cottage, and
no snow.
No snow.
Come back to Redfield, just 3 feet. But that's the way the lake effect works. Like, not to get off on a tangent. But
no, it's.
We were on 81 the other day. It was, you couldn't see your front of your car hood, and the snow band was only 7 miles wide. We had 100 cars off the road. You know. And then the band will shift up, and then it'll shift back down. And it'll shift up, it'll shift back down. You drive 2 miles up, you're in sunshine. So cars will be doing 70 in the sunshine, and then all of a sudden they'll hit a wall of snow.
I got a story from 81. When you're going down 104 and you can jump on 81.
Yeah.
I was driving home in one of those days where it was just snow squall after snow squall and white knuckling it.
Yeah.
When I used to drive that Mitsubishi Galant, I'm driving, got my radio going, just doing probably like 20 miles per hour because you could barely see the hood of your car. The snow squall just randomly dies.
Yep.
And I get cut off by a tank with the guy out on the turret. And then it goes, I can't see it again. And then the snow squall dies and I can see in the rear view mirror, I got a tank in front of me and I got one behind me and I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Well, they were heading out. They must have either been running practice or trying to get people off 81.
Well,
I don't know how that works over there. But
yeah, well, they'll when they're moving like platoons and squads or stuff. I wasn't in the military, so I don't know. But they'll run down 81. They'll use that to like go to South Carolina or Georgia or wherever they go. So you'll see guys. But that would suck to drive one of them in one of those snowstorms.
Yeah, that's the thing. If it was a truck, I wouldn't have minded. But the fact that it was a tank that pulled out in front of me, I'm like, we don't live in Russia.
Yeah. Heat's working in here, I'll tell you that. You still got your heated seat on?
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
I love it. That old Arctic Cat I used to drive had a heated seat. And that's the one thing I missed on my freaking Skidoo. But I was like,
oh, that's right.
I'd keep it on high all the time, and instead of turning it off, I would literally just stand up and the cold air would cool off, and I'd sit back down. So nice. Nice, and you know, you go home after a cold ride, and the water drips down your back, and it kind of burns a little bit. Not if you have a heated seat on your snowmobile.
Not if you have a heated seat.
When you guys are out screwing around, do you have a favorite food destination? I was going to tell you a little story about the Redfield Hotel, but I'll let you do your food destination.
So my favorite food destination burned down. Redfield Hotel, rest in peace. It'll never be matched.
I agree.
Tonight we ate at the Florence Hotel.
Right.
That's good food.
Right. You're doing a good job over there, Florence. I don't know if you guys see these videos, but
shout out to you. We had your fish fry tonight. I didn't have it because fish is disgusting. But
I did the crispy chicken sandwich was good.
Hamburger like always with tater tots. Cheeseburger, I should say.
2009, my cousin was killed in like July 26th, and I was scheduled to come up that weekend for a fishing trip to the reservoir. I was bringing a guy up to show him the reservoir.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting killed, so I ended up having to cancel the trip. And then we rescheduled the trip for a couple weeks later. I don't know the exact dates because it was a pretty tough time. And this is probably like as open as you guys will kind of ever hear me get. But a couple weeks later, I shed a tear, man, when the hotel burned down. I had lost my cousin like a week or 2 weeks prior to that, and then that happened. It was just like, is this gonna, and it sounds funny for that to happen, you know, to kind of shed a tear over a restaurant, but I mean, the memories that it brought us at the Purple Palace, and
so
you know, sometimes they'd shut down and just for our group to stay in there, and we just, it's just one of those places that you never get back.
So
I never get that back.
Yeah, so if anybody, I mean, if anybody's watching that's been there, they know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I grew up there. That was my home. Not many people grew up in a bar, but I did. So I started with the sheriff's office in 2009, and I was on FTL field training. My field training officer came running down the hallway, so I thought we were going to a fight or something, or whatever, something bad. And he said, come on. I said, where are we going? He's like, the hotel's on fire. I'm like, yeah, okay. So I run out, get in the car. We're flying. We just keep going east. We keep going east. We keep going east. And I'm like, man, you aren't kidding, are you? And he's like, no, the hotel's on fire. Get up there, the hotel's on fire.
Did he know that?
Yeah, so he actually would come up fishing. Jay Burke, shout out to you, who just retired because he's a prick. So he would come up fishing. He actually had a trout in the hotel that hung on the wall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was mounted.
Okay.
So, you know, we would talk about it and stuff, and then, of course, he knew, you know, my family owned it. That's where I lived. I grew up there. And that's actually what led me to be so surprised when I became a cop and people called the cops for bar fights. You don't do that up there. Like, you call the cops on a bar fight in Redfield, you better get out of town. And I was shocked. Like, I went to my first bar fight, and I walked up. You know, you show up, and there's, you know, everybody, it's a bar fight. Everybody's whatever. And I couldn't imagine somebody called the cops on a bar fight. Just blew my mind. Yeah, losing the hotel changed the entire demographic of this area.
I agree.
Because you would have 500-600 sleds out back, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Everybody, there's people waiting to get in, people are in, there was bands. It'll never be the same. It hasn't been the same.
Even my dad, he would come out every night, man.
Yeah.
My dad would be the one sometimes. Let's go to the hotel tonight.
Yeah.
And my dad, he's a quiet guy, doesn't drink, but he loves his prime rib and
the thing about it is that
the salad bar.
if you were a partier, go hard, drink a lot of beer, there was a place for you. If you were to sit back, eat food, talk, there was a place for you.
Yeah.
If you wanted to sit in the corner and do nothing, there was a place for you. That was the biggest thing about it. Is everybody could go there. You know, it wasn't just a bar. Yeah, but I don't know. I like to eat everywhere. That was loud. Is your GoPro still on?
Yep.
It's
actually protected by the bar that runs down.
Yeah. I don't have really a specific place to eat. I do when I'm working. I only eat specific places. But obviously for good reason. We all know why that is.
Look at this fresh ribbon we're laying down, guys.
Yeah, it looks even better behind us. It's negative 17 too.
Oh, shit. I was gonna put a GoPro on the back of the drag, and then he kind of left me hanging for a second outside, and I got in here, and I'm like, I ain't going back out there to put the GoPro on the drag. And now we're down to, what'd you say, it's negative 17. Negative 17.
I got my window open because I'm sweating without my seat on. He's got his seat on.
Yeah, I got the seat on because I just love it. This question might be hard for you. I like to ask it just because it's a kind of a tourist town. Well, it is, especially in the winter. But is there, like, instead of asking you like a favorite historical site, is there a favorite place you guys like to go around here in the summertime?
In the summertime?
You guys still have a camper, right?
Yeah, so we camp a lot. We go all over the place. We don't spend much.
You can say any, you know what? You can stay anywhere. You don't have to stay around here. No, because it's kind of hard for you. Because it's like me. I want to get out of Spencerport. You probably want to get out of Redfield. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just camping in general. We go all over the place. We put thousands of miles on camping everywhere. So, but I love Redfield. I love being in there. You can go a quarter mile down the road and you're on the reservoir. You can ride four-wheeler wherever you want to.
Yeah, it's really a hidden gem if you ask me.
Yeah.
But it's starting to get out there.
Stay out of town.
Yeah.
COVID really screwed us.
You think?
Ever since COVID started, there's been thousands of people at the reservoir and more side-by-sides than we know what to do with.
Right.
But I will tell you, you didn't ask me this, before I forget, this is not my favorite place to snowmobile. So we used to go to Canada every year. Oh,
I did skip it. Sorry about that.
No, I'll forget. There's nothing like riding in Canada. Nothing. It's incredible.
Do you remember where you went there?
Yep, Montpelier, Quebec. It is a 100% French speaking. I know 0% of French. It's way up, way up. It felt like forever going up there when I was younger. But I want to go back. I want to get my grandfather back up there. But we'll see.
You know, with these times, actually Canada's freaking laws are, COVID laws are a little tighter than ours.
With COVID around, it's not like I don't foresee us going back up anytime soon.
Look at this nice gentleman waiting for us. Little does he know he's on the podcast. Trying not to look at the lights. You sleeping, buddy? It looked like he was sleeping at the wheel.
Sorry, bud. I know they're bright.
We went to North Bay and only snowmobiled that one time into Quebec, and that was the coldest I've ever been in my entire life.
Yeah, we woke up one morning, it was like negative 40, something like that. Nothing would start. Finally got the sled started. Yeah, it's crazy up there.
Does your grandpa still do miles? Or ride a little bit?
No. He can't take the cold. His body just like seizes up on him. So he goes to Florida every year now.
When did he leave for there?
He would have already left, but in the snowstorms, he goes to Virginia, gets on the train, and it goes down.
I was gonna say, because I seen him at the chicken barbecue last week.
Yeah,
leaving.
Yeah. Generally, he'll stay till that, and then he'll leave after. But yeah, the snowstorms have really delayed the.
It almost looked like Todd.
Looks like Todd's old sled, actually, to be honest with you. Those
Canada days, man, they're freaking fun.
They're a riot. You be going down the trail and 70, 80 miles an hour, man. It's just no stopping. The trails are just rock hard.
Expressway wide.
Yeah, there are 2 lanes. You're on a trail, and then there's a skiing trail in the middle that's like protected by trees, and then there's the other trail going like east is on the other side, and it's just crazy. You see it. Guys almost hit a moose when we were up there. It's incredible.
They're nice because you can jockey for position too safely.
Yeah. Yeah. See, the difference is it doesn't get warm up there. It never, like, it doesn't warm up. Once it gets cold, it stays cold. So their trails hold up way better than ours. I mean, 3 days ago or 4 days ago, whatever it was 35 here. So
we got about 18 inches at home, and then it was 34, 36 yesterday, but not very long, so it didn't really go away.
Yeah.
Got another hockey puck. Looks like a dog turd. No, it's a stone.
That is a stone. It almost looked like an ear pad.
What?
An ear pad out of like a helmet. Piece of cushion.
So the next question I normally ask is, when you bring a person snowmobiling, what do you know, kind of the day in the life of us? And I'm not going to ask you that. This place is open. Just like a broken piece of plastic.
Yeah.
They always open?
I don't know. Jack's going in there.
I'm gonna go for the. You got the boys, and they freaking ride like.
Put 1,200 miles on in the yard.
And yeah, they're always on the snowmobiles every time I see them.
Yeah.
What kind of things do you instill on them as young riders?
So obviously when you ride from the time you're born, you gain more experience on how to hold a sled, how to maneuver a sled. My 11-year-old can probably maneuver a sled better than most adults, and it yerks the shit out of me. But I learned my lesson when I was riding with the guys from Purple Palace. We were up here, and I rode hard all the time when I was 11, 12 years old, 13 years old, you know. And I got up here, started riding with them, and I outrode myself. I went off the trail. Todd came back, got me out of the woods. He said, whatever you do, don't try to keep up. That's always stuck with me. Because if you're going too fast and outriding your abilities, you're not staying on the trail. So I tell my boys that, because sometimes I'll get a little out in front of them. You know, try to tell them we'll be at the next intersection. Don't worry about it.
Right.
But when you're young, or when you're new, you're worried about getting lost, or you're worried about having to keep up. You're riding with guys that, you know, either ride every day or they've been riding for 30 years.
Right.
You're not going to keep up. I was riding 7 days a week back then, every day. They had more experience. I just couldn't handle the sled the way they could handle it. So that, you know, the biggest thing is respect. Respect the landowner, which they know. They know where they're not allowed to go. Just stay right.
That's what some of the advice I've heard my dad give some of my friends. Like, we'd ride all the time, right? And then we'd have friends come up that, oh, I'm gonna get a sled,
right?
And whatnot. I remember 3 or 4 times I've heard my dad tell one of the girls, don't try to keep up with them assholes.
Yeah, I mean,
that was his advice. Like,
that's the thing.
And that's probably is the best advice.
It's not a car, right? So you don't have a GPS. Most people don't, especially new people. They don't have a GPS, and they're always trying to. They don't want to get lost. I mean,
right.
We're literally right now in the middle of nowhere. There's no cell service up here. You don't want to get lost. But the thing they got to realize is they're going to be at the next intersection. You know, they're going to be waiting.
Yep.
So, and I don't always just slow down for my kids, because I got to open the throttle up a little bit. You know what I mean? We don't ride on the weekends on the trails unless we go with the guys from Purple Palace, but we don't ride on the weekends. We ride during the week. I'm off during the week, so I can do that.
You're telling secrets that I don't like to let.
But well, they know.
No, I say it in my videos all the time. If you want to come up,
they know, and it sucks to be you when you only have the weekends off. Right. I don't. So check this out. We got bumps. Holy moly. I'm gonna have to do some work here. The trail's been tabletopped up until that point.
Dude, I gotta piss so bad I don't want to go out there. This freaking stream will freeze before I hit the ground.
It'll freeze on the way out.
Alright guys, we have reached that moment. It is freaking story time. Do you have a favorite story that you like to tell?
What do you want it about?
I mean, if we can kind of stick with the theme of snowmobiling, or I mean, you probably got 100 of them. You see us freaking morons running around, and
I got millions of them. So I was watching the podcast the other day when I was working. I was actually with them guys when Jake hit the railroad track.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, I was right behind him. He smokes the railroad track, and his scat goes straight out to the right. Starts pelting him in the face. I laughed so hard I almost fell off my sled. I'll give you one from work. So I work road patrol. I'm not on the snowmobile, so I'm a road guy. I'm working one night and I'm in a village. This sled goes flying by me, blows through a stop sign. Probably 70 miles an hour, almost hit me. He actually almost T-boned me. I stopped. I had to stop before he hit me. So I'm chasing this guy around the village, and by then he had got out on a main road. He almost hit 2 other cars. He was probably intoxicated. He was definitely driving reckless. So here I am trying to stop him in a patrol car. So in my infinite wisdom, when he was getting ready to turn on a trail, I pulled in front of him. I got out and I ran around, and he started going up the bank. Got around my car, so I ran back around the front of my car. So I tried tackling him off the sled, and I missed. And I went like shoulders deep into a snowbank. And the dude just rode away. So whoever that guy was, just know that I laughed extremely hard after that. When I got out, my holster, my gun, everything was filled with snow. Yeah,
That's funny.
that was a dumb moment on my part. The dude was gonna kill himself or somebody else. There's no doubt about it. We didn't get an accident that night. I don't know how. Completely driving reckless.
There's too much of that these days.
So when we started this, there was another snowmobile accident. Guy got airlifted. I'm in the fire department too. But can't go because we're in GROOMER. So we've had what, 3 fatals? 3 fatals up here? 2 fatals in a week. About 7 accidents. 8 accidents, something like that. I don't know.
Not that I'm a data guy, but it would be interesting to see if
Something's got to change.
Yeah, something has to change. It'd be interesting to see if it's new riders that, you know, this freaking whole COVID spike in snowmobiling and 4-wheeling and side-by-siding.
I will tell you, the 2 that I had working were not new riders. They were intoxicated. One hit a tree head on, one hit a guardrail. I don't know about the other ones, but the ones that I had were not new riders. Generally, though, the newer riders don't crash as much.
You're probably scared, right?
From my experience of being in the fire department since 03, and sheriff's office since 09, there's only maybe 1 or 2 times that I've had a newer rider crash, or an inexperienced rider with
these snowmobiles too. They're only getting more powerful. It's weird. The trails get smaller and the freaking sleds are getting stronger.
I don't know. I don't know why you gotta pin it to win it. But I don't really. I'm sick of picking people up off the trails. That's for sure. Not in trees. Last year we were on an accident in Williamstown. The guy crashed in Lover's Lane and we went down to the fire department to help him. And we got over there and I started talking. I was telling one of the EMTs that we got a Stokes basket for, and the guy started yelling my name. So I went over there. I had no idea who he was. Of course, he's all bandaged up, you know, he's just in an accident, hit a tree. And I was like, but I'm gonna be honest, but of course with my job I deal with so many people that, you know what I mean?
Right.
But he, it was my college roommate that I hadn't seen in like 14 years.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Just so happened, he was riding down the edge of Lover's Lane and it looked like he got his right ski off and it hit the powder. And it just sucked him right down into the trees. He was a hurting unit.
I came off Lover's Lane once and there was a sled burning. Probably 2 years ago.
So I'll tell you another story. I got more stories from the job than I do actually riding sled. So the one where the guy took off that I was telling you about?
Yeah.
It's like 4 in the morning on a, I don't know, like a Tuesday. It's like 4 in the morning, I'm just driving around. There's nothing going on, radio's quiet, no cars are out. And I'm driving down 17, and where Lover's Lane hits 17, there's a whole bunch of reflective material in the field that's never been there, right? So I'm like, that's odd. So I hit my spotlight on, and it's a guy on a snowmobile. Whatever. Well, all of a sudden I see the guy like, hurry up, put his helmet on, jump on a sled, and take off back towards, back towards the other end of Lover's Lane. So I go around, I catch the guy at the other intersection, he turns around, comes back to 17. So we do this, right? Just keep doing this whole thing. Well, I find a track, because he's the only one out, there's just me and him. I follow the track, well the track goes right to his garage door, right? I'm like, well I know where the guy lives. I don't know why the guy's running. He wasn't doing anything wrong. He was just sitting on a snowmobile. So I go back over to down into Williamstown and I see there's this car driving down the road, so I stop and I was like, hey ma'am, you see a snowmobile around here anywhere? She's like, yeah, there's one flying down the road. I was like, all right, no problem, thank you. So I drive down there. Wouldn't you know, I catch this guy in the intersection, right? So I catch this guy in the intersection, CC road, and he's stuck. He can't go anywhere. He's just like peeling out. He's riding a Yamaha Viper. One of the, like, it was like a 03, like 04, early 2000s model. One of the heaviest sleds ever made. He catches, flies over the snowbank, goes way down into the woods, and gets stuck, so he shuts the sled off. So I go down there and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I just bought the sled, I got out of work and I'm just driving it. He says, but I don't have, it's not registered. Oh. I'm like, I wouldn't even have cared. I said, I literally just I shined my light on you because it was a whole pile of reflective material, or reflective in the field, that's never been there before. You could have waved and I would have kept driving. I said, but now you have to get your sled out of the woods. That's the heaviest snowmobile ever made. Yeah, he had a rough time getting it out. I ended up having to ride the snowmobile out because he didn't know what he was doing to get it out for him. Oh. And then he rode it home. Yeah.
I actually have a similar story to that on the reservoir. I left the Purple Palace one night. It wasn't you. It was, I think Brandon was over there, and he had his big old four-wheeler over there for some reason. And I was heading back to my camp, and I keep seeing a light flicker. That's the moon?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I see a light flickering facing the sky, and I'm like, no. It was way out. So I keep going, and I see it again as I'm looking. It's like just a little glistening.
It's wintertime?
Wintertime. So I'm like, you know what? I turned around. I went back over to where kind of the bridge is. Not the bridge, but the fill. And sat there for a second with my lights off. And I could occasionally see the light come on. Like there's somebody out there. So I drive past, you know, where the church is.
Yeah.
You could see the guy blew the church. He came through the church and blew the trail. And instead of going to the left onto the reservoir, you know how there's like an embankment?
Yeah.
Went down the embankment and just kept going and tried to get out of there. It was probably 20 below that night.
That's cool.
I walked into the Purple Palace and I said, you guys want to be heroes tonight? Like literally, legit. We go out there, we go out in the trucks. Brandon goes out in his on his four-wheeler. We're trucking through 2.5, 3 feet of snow.
Yeah.
We get up to the guy, he's leaning against the sled. 2 poles away from a heart attack. Randomly, a guy from another town sees us out there, who was like a fire department guy. I want to say he was from Altmer.
Yeah.
He threw on his lights. And when we got this guy unstuck, he's like, I don't know how to get, he was trying to go back to Outer Limits. He had a room there. So we told him how to get there. As soon as this guy flips the lights on, he freaking does 110 miles per hour to the other end of the reservoir. Freaking smashed. We're like,
it was just the fireman.
Yeah.
He
was just, we walked back up. He's like, I seen you guys out there. I want to check. We're like, well, we were giving this guy directions, and you flipped the lights on, and he's hammered.
He gone.
And he's just freaking gone.
He didn't want any part of that.
So to this day, who knows if the guy's still snowmobiling or where he's at.
You don't know. We had a guy drunk one time. Couldn't even go by the groomer. He fell into the pan.
Jesus.
On his way by. Flipped the sled right into the groomer. That's why when they're going by, you can't drive, because you don't know if they're gonna make it by. Alcohol and snowmobiles don't mix.
They sure do not.
But people keep thinking they do.
Ooh, that was a big one.
Yeah, that's a big rock. Get that on the way back. Yeah.
So let's wrap this thing up, man. We got a good amount of footage, and I want to enjoy some radio and just kind of hang out. And
Yeah, they're killing our radio time.
yeah, yep.
Want to
Do a little camaraderie, maybe take a pee in the woods. My last thing is it's kind of an open floor. Like, you have any messages or anything you want to say, or
just be safe. Obviously, everything I do revolves around somebody being in an accident, right? Like, I have a weird, not a weird one, but I'm involved in snowmobiling more than 90% of people that are in snowmobiling.
yeah, you're experiencing it full circle.
Right. So I ride, I groom. I'm in the fire department, so if you crash and I'm off duty, I'm going to get you out with that. When I'm working for the sheriff's office, if you crash, or if I am doing like snowmobile stops or checkpoints or whatever, I'll be doing the enforcement side of it. Somehow, Missy talked me into being a moderator on the Tug Hill Snowmobile site on Facebook. For those of you guys that don't know what it's like to be a moderator on a site with 21,000 people on it, we should be getting paid, I don't know what, we should be compensated for your actions. Because there's 10 of us, right? I think she said there was 8 of us, 8 moderators and 2 admin. And we were just talking the other day in a group chat. And every time all you guys get in a fight or an argument and say, write something or call somebody a bad name, somebody reports it, where every time somebody posts something, we have to okay it. And then we, on top of that, we got 78 or 120 member requests that day. It's eye-opening, to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I get to be involved in snowmobiling probably more than anybody you're gonna meet. Full circle, the whole thing. I guess I never really thought about it.
This is one of the reasons I was excited about doing this with you, because this is the stuff you guys don't get to see behind the scenes or see stuff like this full circle. Like, you get to ride these trails. Our group's pretty involved with the club, so we kind of know what goes on behind it. But if there's anybody, it's this guy, man. He could be the difference between you living or dying one day if you make a bad decision. I mean, it's, I don't want to end on that note, but it's the truth. It's
life is life is very fragile.
We love this sport, and you know, we want it to be around. I want it to be around if I'm fortunate enough to have a kid one day. He has 25 kids, and he wants them to be around.
Yeah. Hopefully they're still snowmobiling.
Yeah. It's just, we talk about it all the time, and snowmobiling is just something that brings us back together at the same time every year when there's snow, or even before. And even for you and us, we come up here in the summer. Redfield in general brings our group back with each other year round. So
like the guys at the Purple Palace, that whole group is basically my family now. I've known them guys since I was in diapers, since I was born. So when they come up in the wintertime, you know, we go hang out, we ride, whatever. We try to get down to Rochester area to go back with them, but we're so busy, it's hard. But
I don't want to talk down about Rochester because I love that place, but why would you want to come there?
I get it. I say that the same thing about Redfield.
Yeah.
What are you coming to Redfield for? It's negative 21 out.
Yeah, it's been dropping as we've been going.
Yeah, so it's negative 21. So we probably should have peed like 20 minutes ago, because it's dropped like 5 degrees in a half hour. But yeah, I mean,
and hopefully the 2 videos that I made today shed a little light on the safety and on what goes on behind the scenes, because we all volunteer for the Redfield Snowmobile Association, and
shout out, that's who's grooming.
Yeah,
right?
that's what we're grooming. The Redfield Snowmobile Association trails. We're on C5 right now, right?
Good luck getting Slobie back on a sled, because now he's sitting in a warm room listening to a radio, heated seat, heated drinks, food. This is why I groom more than I ride.
Go live on this thing. You definitely got to get those cameras. So, dude, that was awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. I've been looking forward to doing this for a long time, and the fact that I can pull off a video in here too is even freaking 10 times better.
And now we have bumps. We can actually work the groomer.
Yeah.
Before we were just cruising.
I do have a freaking GoPro running the camera on the outdoors watching this stuff, so that'll be cool to look forward to. So guys, we're gonna wrap this up. Hopefully, I'm gonna get out of here and go to the bathroom in a minute. Jamie, thank you so much for allowing us this. Laura, thank you so much for giving up your seat to me.
Shout out to the wife.
I keep shouting out Laura, but I know how much she enjoys coming in it, and I just didn't want to be that guy. But
listen, I got to shout out to her, because I have not been home in a week. I worked all weekend nights. I groomed Monday. I was home Tuesday. I worked all day Wednesday. I groomed all night Wednesday. I worked all day Thursday. I groomed all night Thursday.
we literally just had a quick meal with her too, and we freaking booked.
We had a quick meal with her. She ordered food from Florence Hotel, and then we left. So that woman's a saint.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed it, and do me that favor. Tell your grandmas, your grandpas, your moms, your dads, your aunts, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters, your friends, your frenemies, your enemies about all these videos. Like and share them. And guys, thank you so much for all your support. Love you guys. Peace out. We will see you next time.